we apologize for your workday Friday if you run into Jayhow for what is going to happen to you. And what you're going to have to witness and experience.
That is a really good point. I think... Yes, sir. We're done here. Done playing around. It is SPT trying to speeding things up here on the Braxis holdout, where things could go a little bit one-sided one way or the other. But yeah, Calder, shout out to you, man. Jayhow is going to be a very happy panda at work today if you run across each other.
Well then, we are heading into the final draft of our regular season play in HGC China before the playoffs, which will be taking place next week. BTG with the first ban here. SPT, the last time they took us here, they attempted to cheese with Sylvanas and very nearly suffered for it. But BTG are a much of a different beast compared to Sunny Lion.
All right, so what kind of SPT are we going to see here? They have a tendency to end things rather quickly here, right? They sometimes go for Sylvanas, other push-heavy heroes like a Zarya, for example, and they basically try to brute force their way in through one lane. Sometimes that backfires, sometimes it works out quite well. Now, Beyond the Game, of course, is not your Sunny Lion. They're not SOA, they're not RPG. Yeah. They are a team that knows how to deal with those shenanigans.
They know how to deal with them, and they know how to bring them themselves sometimes. They have the odd shenaniganry up their sleeve. As BTG, using almost all their time, they decide to settle on the Genji this time, removing another potential Merly C hero. Very fair choice. And SPT, they remove the Medivh. Even though we know that BTG don't play it as much as SPT, they'd still rather not play against it.
You could also argue, is Medivh really a high priority pick on Braxis as a first, second pick? I have my doubts about that for now, though. We see Junkrat, strong pusher, strong sieger as well, and Stukov, of course. If you manage to get a kill in the 4-man lane with Stukov, you can almost guarantee a tower or two, because those lurking arms will then cripple the defenses of the already weakened defending team. And because you basically place it around the gate and the enemy team can't even walk outside their base anymore.
Yeah, just drop it under the gate, have a wonderful time pushing in with whichever ranged heroes you have, and someone to tank the towers. Gareth would have been perfect for that, but he is stolen by BTG. So what else are they going to have with him? Someone to follow up. Malfurion Roots, good choice so far.
Definitely a good choice. I mean, it gives you the sustain you need in lane, and they're already securing a strong solo laner here with Malthael. Basically not caring about, you know, potentially countering the solo laner that SPT had. Quite frankly, that is a good move if you want to make sure that A, Malthael doesn't get banned in the second rotation, or doesn't get picked away by the opposing team, because Malthael, despite mixed results overall in all of HGC, has becoming quite a popular hero, especially in China.
That is correct, especially when you have those solid solo laners like Hugo or like Zuyu. BTG, they do have very good solo laners, but it's a question of whether they're going to be able to bring it against whatever SPT brings to the solo lane.
And it makes sense as well if you take a look at it. If Beyond the Game was planning to go Malthael all along, right? What is the greatest weakness of a dominating solo laner? Getting overzealous, pushing too deep, and then getting caught by a Genji gang. So this Genji first ban is basically another way of making Malthael even more powerful in the solo lane by not having to worry about potential flanks ganks from the hypermobile Genji carry.
Makes all the sense in the world. So now here's the question: if we go ahead and assume that SPT aren't going to pick Sonya or someone like that to lane against Malthael, what could we see? Basic examples could be perhaps someone like a Ragnaros. We do know that SPT are quite happy to be cheeky and potentially bring out the Zagara from time to time.
You know what? I was going to say the exact same thing. I think Zagara, although she's disappeared from the competitive scene for the most part, I still think she has her place. And already last year we saw the resurgence of Zagara coming in from SPT. They were one of the first teams to bust her out of nowhere, and actually other teams around the globe copied that playstyle with especially I think it was Gale Force Esports Crone becoming one of the more impactful and most lethal Zagaras in North America, netting them a couple of wins, especially on that map on Braxis holdout. So Zagara, of course, is still a little susceptible. She's not really the greatest hero in teamfights, but she can dominate a lane even against Malthael. However, if you don't want to go that risky route with Sagara shenanigans, you can also just put Junkrat in there. I think any ranged hero that has a little bit of damage available will do fine against Malthael.
Looks like they're just going to go with melee and poke. The Thrall coming in will be their solo laner here, almost certainly with an echo of the Elements style of build. Going to poke down Malthael from afar. This is the second time we have seen this particular laning setup today.
Yeah, as long as you can dodge the Malthael E, and you don't give him that percentage damage, you don't give him his own poke, you should be able to out-trade, or at least trade evenly against the Malthael.
So the other option there is actually putting Thrall in the 4-man, actually, and getting those nice Crash Lightning stacks. I was going to say Junkrat.
But then you don't have a range in the 4-man, which is also kind of bad.
Thrall's kind of ranged. Chuck in lightning all day. All day for days. And you just have a Zeratul rotating around back and forth between the lanes for a burst.
True.
Win top lane hard.
It could be a thing. But yeah, Zeratul could actually be placed in the solo lane as well. While he's not really the greatest of solo laners in terms of bullying the opponent from the lane, he could just soak quietly, hiding in the shadows. And here we have the Alarak coming in for Beyond the Game. They tried to make that hero work the other day. And while it didn't work out as well as they had planned, the Alarak is still a Beyond the Game speciality. And I'm already curious to see how that is going to work out in the 4-man. Now, we're potentially having a Alarak 4-man, Malthael solo. Like, that is a lot of burst, Tetcher. Greymane, Alarak, Garrosh? Holy!
And SPT, all they have left is a tank, and I honestly think their only true option is ETC. He's the only person who can actually potentially survive an Alarak combo and displace it at the same time with that face melt. Other than that, maybe Muradin, because he's one of the best in terms of surviving the Garrosh. Their poke is okay, but maybe not good enough to just go with the solo tank Johanna. I'm leaning towards Varian for burst is also an option, but I'm very much leaning towards ETC.
ETC, Muradin, or Johanna. I think one of those three. They all are very resilient. Johanna could even use Iron Skin to basically escape all those CC spells, but they go for Muradin, and that is a very solid choice all around. Not only is Misaka a Muradin god amongst mere mortals, but also, as you said, or as you said, Tetcher, he's very resilient, and most importantly, he's very good to save mana on your support, right? Because he has that second wind trait. He just goes out of combat for a few seconds and he's going to heal back up, potentially saving a little bit of mana from your support because he doesn't have to spam those healing spells onto you the entire time.
You are correct, good sir. An excellent point, well made. So, honestly, both these teams have like 3 solo laners just between them. Yep. Alarak could solo lane, Greymane could solo lane, Malthael could solo lane on the side of BTG, on the side of SPT. Thrall can solo lane, Junkrat can solo lane, Zeratul can solo lane. The solo lane might just be rotated in and out of. Level 1 talents will give a bit more of a clear image in the form of Alarak and Thrall at minimum.
Yeah, very true. The moment we see a Crash Lightning, it is almost impossible for Thrall to keep on the solo lane, but that is probably very unlikely going to happen in the first place. So,
yeah.
I normally don't ask you... never mind. We're going to introduce the teams first, and then I'm going to ask you the question I was about to ask. For now, though, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Brax's Holdout. On the left-hand side, it is once again going to be the super perfect team with Molly on that Junkrat. Melody C is playing Zeratul this time. Misaka is playing the Muradin. Soap on that Thrall, and CZH on Stukov.
And on the right-hand side, it is Beyond the Game with 619 on the Garrosh, LLK on Alarak, Druid on Malfurion, Dancing on Greymane, and Lai is playing the Malthael. Looking at the level 1 talents, it could still be Alarak in the top lane, going for the sustaining power, as opposed to extended lightning, which would very much show he is in the 4-man. And we also end up seeing the Crash, not the Crash Lightning, sorry, the Echo of the Elements for the Thrall. So Thrall will at minimum be the solo laner. And now, due to the level 1 talent of Malthael, I think he's going to be the solo laner as well, because he's not going to be rotating as much with that talent.
Yeah, that's already a cool indicator there for sure. Fear the Reaper has been chosen. That is an activatable talent for Malthael, which upon activation will give him movement speed, and he no longer will be able to be body blocked because he becomes impassable or passable, sorry, not impassable. for a few seconds there. No, both teams basically trying to figure out each other's rotations, right? They're trying to find out who's going to solo, where our team's going to send their 4-man rotation in. And look at Beyond the Game. They're behind enemy lines. They're trying to find CZH, but he was scouting it all along in that bush. And yeah, those are the crazy rotations we're used to seeing here. By the way, both stuns hitting each other at the same time. Really cool to see.
Yeah, nice little trade out between the two there. Zeratul has been helping Thrall very effectively to make sure he does not get burst down, but we are seeing the attempted punishments repeatedly by BTG trying to grab mercenaries and also trying to put pressure onto Thrall, really make him regret not taking that crash lightning.
Both teams immediately going for the Hellbats. These pushing mercenaries are so strong and can normally not be ignored for too long because they have the unique ability of lowering the armor of structures as well. As far as I'm aware, that's the only unit in the game that can actually do that. So the longer you ignore them, the more damage your structures are going to take from minions, mercenaries, and heroes alike.
There's a route onto the Greymane, looking to try and focus him down. The silence from Stukov, only enough amount of time as the great silence from Alarak picks up first blood.
Yeah, and that is exactly the power of Alarak. You overstay your welcome, you step out too far, especially as Thrall, who is no blink, no teleport available, and you're going to be cannon fodder here. Lai, in the meantime, holding his own against Zeratul, and that is exactly what we talked about earlier. Zeratul not really trying to fight Malthael. He's just there to drop a little bit of wave clear and soak it up while being cloaked.
Stun by Misaka, once again disrupting the rotations, but BTG really throwing their weight around right now, trying to keep the pressure going. There's the toss from Garrosh once again, also disrupting Misaka a bit. Oh, nicely done, LLK, with that telekinesis.
Yeah, that was a beautiful and an important one as well, because that could have actually been a beautiful Stormbolt for the rest of SPT to follow up. But LLK, even though he had a great escape, he's still not completely safe. The heals are coming through, the triple silence as well, and stacks completed. However, Alric also dies in the process. Here comes Greymane. Oh, beautiful showing here by Beyond the Game.
They make it a 1-for-1 here with the turnaround, sustaining power, keeping Alarak alive for so long, but Lai really turning that fight around and forcing the retreat here. Thrall, stacking Wolf, getting in the level 4, the Timeless talent, as we have called it in the past.
It's not the Frostwolf pack, it's not the stacking one, but it is the other Feral Resilience. So basically, Thrall, instead of going for stacks, trying to have the cooldown lowered, he's just trying to become a little more resilient. And LLK, have mercy on the Zol of your fellow Protoss here. Zeratul gets blown to pieces, and this is a reinvigorated, a new Beyond the Game that is just slicing and dicing their way through SPT left, right, and center. Well played all across the board, but yeah, Thrall becoming a little bit more resilient, basically getting physical armor after landing Feral Spirit. And that is kind of needed as well, because Soap has been getting bullied and butchered quite a bit up to this point.
And Alarak is just gaining stacks as these fights have been going on. Chaos reigns on another stack gain. Looking for the damage onto ZZH, but the Zeratul roam is good. Silence from Stukov, not enough though. Clutch toss, and he will die to poison. No, he won't. ZZH escapes the turnaround kill onto Alarak here. Lovely move by Melody C, and the good roam-in by Misaka. The Vorpal Blade chased down. Lovely silence. Down goes Greymane. Focus on the 619 for the final kill. Moon fires to heal him up. Is it enough? Yes, it isn't. Good root by Druid. Wonderful save at the end, but is it enough? The toss on Melody C.
Die already.
And finally, the moon fires run out, and Druid is forced to retreat.
That is a very interesting outcome of that team fight. Sometimes, you know, cool guys normally don't look at explosions, right? But sometimes when you turn away too early expecting someone to die and they don't do that, you're gonna regret your miserable life choice. Another kill. Elrek, the High Lord, shall not be trifled with today. Melody C is finding his master over and over again, and for Melody C, one of the strongest players in the league, to suffer this much, it's actually quite unusual, and it speaks for the quality of LLK as an Alarak player.
Here comes the pressure from LLK and Dancing Druid, putting all the damage onto Misaka. Misaka, even if he gets his avatar up, it does not affect silences, which is why Alarak is super good here, and everyone is forced to back up a bit. Third wave finally getting cleared up, 3,000 left.
Now look at all the value. Towers were destroyed, both top and bottom, and that of course results in a tremendous experience lead for Beyond the Game. The question is, can they maintain it heal already. They're trying to make something happen. The roots are huge, but actually almost overlapping identically with the silence. Now, Melody C dodging, sidestepping, well played, but in the end, too much lockdown.
Saka also getting taken out here. Zeratul pulled some fancy moves to stay alive that long, but finally getting killed off.
This is easily the coolest Alrek we've seen all season long. Like, normally Alreks were not even picked on this battleground too often. We normally see them on BOE, right, where they can use the displacement to stun people into the Immortal. Look, they just make it look easy. What is going on? How could Beyond the Game become this transformed team? But now, of course, they have to deal with the fort. It's cutting off their flight path, slowing them down.
Keep mine not landing. There's the stuns. Trying to catch someone. The health bars are low, but they can't do so. Melody C doesn't want to dive it. Looks like he's trying to move in to get one more clean. Lovely route, and that should be enough to at least kill Garrosh. Zeratul with the quick wormhole in. And they get a counter kill. Their fort survives. They're still a full level behind, though.
Thrall is cheating once again, using magic against Garrosh to take him out, but for good measure, every kill is needed here for SPT. They are still sorely behind by an entire level, so that is a welcome sight for them now to maybe catch up a little bit. By the way, Ancestral Wrath being used here at level 7 for Thrall. That, of course, provides additional percentage damage against the Garrosh. That is always useful.
So I misspoke. I said Zeratul wormholed out. He didn't and can't, because he's gone for Seeker in the Dark. Singularity Spike, 6% Nocturne Explode. It's the old-fashioned one, the ability to teleport to the target you hit with your W.
Okay, Misaka actually blindly checking that bush as well, just leaping into the warm and welcoming hands of Lai. Now, level 10 is here. We see the deadly charge for Alrek, going full bananas, full aggression mode. Malfurion is still waiting.
This is inability form. I am excited here as we see everything else is picked except for Malfurion. Against the comp he's up against, I wouldn't mind seeing Tranquility, but I would prefer Twilight Dream. Grab that Zeratul quickly before he kills you. Silence him, punish him for his insolence. As they move in with the Goliaths and the Raven here, putting the pressure onto this top lane. Bot lane currently only being soaked by Zeratul as they pick up the first fort of the game.
Yeah, Muradin, of course, going for give him the axe for more damage against CC targets. Now, here goes the VP. The massive shove, the Riptire, and the VP Sundering could be a pretty nice combo. First of all, Muradin needs to survive this onslaught.
Now reacting to the talents that were picked, locks in the Tranquility, takes huge damage. Void Prison.
Here we go.
Riptire. This could be it. Can bring a huge blow up there as the focus onto dancing. He goes down. Last rites in the background as Malthael causes chaos, but he is alone. He is separated from his team. Soap is giving chase. This is going to take a while as 619 takes huge damage here, and Lai still being chased. This is going to take a really long time. Finally taken out. And this is going to allow Thrall to take control of top.
A 4-man VP. That is exactly what SPT needed here. Monster plays by Melody C, really keeping his team in the game up to this point. And then, of course, Molly didn't have to be asked twice about it. He immediately let go the Riptire. And, yeah, a 4-man explosion. It is so hard to heal all through that. Where even with Malfurion going for Tranquility, there's no way he could have escaped them safe and sound. Of course, a retaliation kill, deathly charge going on to Molly here, who gets the safety and barely makes it out alive. You gotta be kidding me.
Good job, Molly. Well, lucky Molly, I will describe that as, to be fair. Look, Malthael moving back to top lane. This could be the double channel for BTG again. They're still ahead in terms of XP as Misaka tries to fight underneath the fort, but the minions are tanking the shots here. Zeratul going to try on 1v1 Malthael as the percentage starts to tick up for BTG.
And that's the sneaky part of Zeratul. While being cloaked, the enemy team does not see him on the minimap, right? So he's always going to be there. The team never knows. Is he team fighting? Is he taking beacons? Right now, team fight breaks loose.
The Riptire to zone away. Big damage to Garrosh, who unstoppables himself through Zeratul with good damage, but he doesn't have wormhole, so that was super risky to try. But he does survive. The channel is neutralized, 78 to 56 in favor of BTG.
Yeah, first blunder here as well. Look at that Alrek damage is from out of this world, and VP once again being used.
Do they have the follow-up this time? They're moving forward. The silence is placed underneath it, but ZZH is forced to disengage it as Junkrat goes down. Garrosh goes down. A 1-for-1 trade. Dancing getting healed up by the Moonfires of Malfurion as Soap looks for his moment. Melody C thinking about it. Doesn't land his W. He can't do the W engage there.
All right, a couple of mistakes here, a couple of combos were missed, a couple of abilities missed by both teams now in a row. Lai, though, he's looking stronger than Malthael. He could be the most important factor to tip the balance of power in Beyond the Game's favor with that consistent damage. Massive shove just to buy a couple of seconds here for Muradin to rotate and take the beacons at almost the same time. Look at that. It's actually enough to keep the 96% counter in check.
But he's pulled it back. They don't want to fight, and because of that, that's going to be the Zerg wave going over to BTG because no one's on bot in time, and the Zergs will be taken. Good delay by Lai for good measure. He might have been a Hornican too, but Greymane will dissuade any kind of kill attempt.
Oh no, if they get a kill here on Thrall.
Move into bot lane.
And they get the kill, I think. The taunt is real, and the stuns are as well. Garage with his revenge against Thrall. War Chief against War Chief. This time, no magic could save Thrall. Beautifully done.
Little shots coming in from the grenades. Junkrat to try and siege this down, but the lead still in favor of BTG. Remember, if SPT lose this, they have to pay a tiebreaker versus the one to try and earn their second seed. As the Riptire enters into the fray, clears the Zerg wave just a little bit.
Just a little bit. Clearing off a couple of those weaker Zerglings and Banelings here, but the big hitters, the heavy hitters, are still alive. The Hydralisks and the Guardians in the back are continuing to pummel the defenses of SPT. They are now 13, though. They're fighting the enemy team on even talents now.
And okay, whiffed every single ability to reveal Zeratul, and as such, Zeratul has got a good positioning here. The silence was good, Sundering to keep the fight going, as Soap misses his wolf here, but is still alive. Able to move back, Tranquility, keeping everyone from BTG alive, though. Now ZVH in serious trouble, gets thrown, and an easy last rites. That massive charge there, unable to get any kind of kill.
No more healing available for 25 seconds here against SPT. Can they sustain through? The healing fountain was still there, but can they still deal? Well, the Zergs, they're still pushing, actually. The Guardians are almost untouched as well. And with combined efforts, Zerg and Beyond the Game take down the keep. Oh, that was close from Zeratul. If they had lost that one, they could have been fourth.
Yeah, Zeratul can't afford to try any kind of wraparound move here. Him even being here is risky. One face check and he's probably dead.
Oh my goodness.
Away due to how low he is. He has to port back now. He will be able to get all his health back that way, but SPT, they're on the back ropes here. They've lost a keep early on in the game. They haven't even taken a fort, and they're now over a level and a half behind.
And Tetra, this is the most important game for SPT in the regular season. This game will decide their fate in the playoffs. Are they going to be second seed guaranteed, or are they going to have to play a tiebreaker match against the one? It all comes down to this. Beyond the Game is looking strong. They've got the speed, they've got the momentum, and they want to carry it all the way through until the end of the game.
BTG keeping the pressure. They want to carry momentum into next week, having taken a game off of the ex-Chinese champions. They move forward, keeping the pressure on the map. They've got those Goliaths in the bot lane, clearing out the fire bats, preventing any kind of counter push potential.
All right, Thrall is scouting. Soap on watch duty here. Of course, the last thing they would want right now is getting flanked by RPG, by Beyond the Game. And they have more than one hero. That is good to do exactly that. We saw deadly Garrosh combos, but we also saw even deadlier Alarak deadly charges into the telekinesis and the remaining shots of his salvo. So SPT, they're just desperate. They're trying to get that 16, but you can only do so much. Melody C, true invisibility. He hasn't been moving for quite some time. That's why they don't spot him.
This is what they need to do. Misaka's hopping around, just waiting to see if Melody C will pull the trigger. He can't move now. If he moves, he could get engaged upon. He would have to run away and blink.
Oh, now they know.
Oh, yeah, they ran into him. They would have figured it out there. He blinks away, keeps himself safe. That was so risky.
Can you imagine just Melody C not moving for a couple more minutes, and at some point he gets dropped because of being AFK, and then PP, pause please, and they cost him to reconnect just for that. Oh my goodness, Misaka.
619 with the pickup there. Absolute clutch engage and the immediate attempt on the boss. This could be a game-winning move. This could be a game-losing move. It's up to Melody C to see if they want to try and wombo this, and I think they do. Look at the positioning. They want to
all
fight
in
this.
or nothing? Question mark?
No, telekinesis. It's done. Boss is gone.
LLK, man. This guy right now is working really hard to become a candidate for the MVP vote. He's been making plays both offensively by locking enemy members down and defensively, scouting ambushes, scouting Zeratul shenanigans, with just superior map awareness. And I think SPT is running out of time. I think SPT no longer has what it takes to wait until the 16, because guess what? If that Zerg meter goes through alongside the boss, it's going to be lights out, I think.
So Zeratul is going to grow and grab that bottom beacon, buy them some time on the Zerg, and then port straight back to base. He needs to be back with his team right now to help defend it. He's actually going to run there, because he believes that will be quicker and gives him the best chance for a wraparound, trusting his team to ping that Zerg, that Archangel down. Because the Zerg are coming in this lane as well, which obviously is better because it means there's no catapult pressure with the Zerg wave, but it does mean they have to defend 2 lanes. Catapults will still be pushing in the bot lane.
Zeratul actually capturing both beacons at the same time. He's trying to get a little bit of Zerg meter progress for SPT. Sneaky beaky. But still, they are basically trading 25-30% of Zergs for an entire keep in the top lane. That was not worth it.
Well, it stopped any end-game pressure. If they hadn't captured those...
And it gives them 16, I guess.
And the Zerg wave. It gives them 16. It bought them time. Now they can defend the Zerg wave. This is, honestly, probably one of the better moves I have seen. Very nicely done by SPT. It was a lose-lose scenario that they somehow turned into an... Okay. Oh, Muradin, this is familiar. Last right, down he goes every single time.
Can't do that. Wait for the grenade by Junkrat. Even throw your hammer in there, but you cannot go in there. Even as a feisty, tanky Muradin, you cannot survive that. Beyond the Game's combo is just too much on point, and I think without the main tank, without Misaka, this could be lights out, and Beyond the Game could actually take SPT into a tiebreaker against the 1.
This is the final death push coming in for BTG. Beyond the Game, Zeratul is back right. Here comes the Riptire. They need to time this with the VP cancelling. Zeratul dies, so they just go straight in. Druid takes huge damage, but so does the core. Defense is not even close to enough. And
wow.
That is GG. BTG takes the draw versus SPT, secures themselves into a 4th place, and forces SPT to take the tiebreaker versus the 1 to see who will go into the playoffs in 2nd place.
Absolutely insane. We've never had this before in HGC China in 2018, and I think we also didn't really see too many tiebreakers in 2017. So, yeah.
We had 1 tiebreaker in 2017 between Hotslady and RPG to decide who would go to Crucible.
Very true. Tetra, the man with the numbers, don't want to mess with you. I think you have superior knowledge.